Thank you very much, Deep Prabhu and Mona Mataji, for having us over. And thank you all for joining us. Radhagiri Prabhu, very happy to see you. And to all of you, thank you for joining us. Who has come for the first time? Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. This is the first time in a long time we're having a Sunday evening program. I don't normally have Sunday evening programs, so good to see you also, Vivek Prabhu. Very nice. So we have devotees who've joined us from quite far, you know. Yeah, you're on the other end, and you at Bishan, so very nice to see everyone. We are in between very auspicious period. We just had a wonderful Krishna Janmashtami celebration. Some of you would have joined us there. We had thousands of devotees coming, and I think it was a very successful attempt to glorify Krishna. So it was very nice. This coming Saturday, on the 23rd, is the appearance of Srimati Radharani. So it is a more intimate affair, because not everyone understands the glories of Srimati Radharani. Unfortunately, in this material world, if we don't understand the relationship between Srimati Radharani and Krishna, it is very easy for us to be very sentimental about it. And we see it from a material point of view. So understanding Srimati Radharani's position is a very important part of our spiritual culture. Srimati Radharani is the Hladini potency of Krishna. In other words, she is the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna. And even though Radharani is considered sometimes, unfortunately, as just another girl or a damsel in Vrajadham, the truth of the matter is she is the topmost and dearmost devotee of Krishna. It is stated that if we want to get the mercy of Krishna, we need to get that mercy through Radharani. And Radharani is so kind that if anyone does any kind of menial service for Krishna, even if that service is not very great, doesn't require, opulent service, simple service, Radharani is the first person to introduce that person to Krishna. So this is Radharani's mercy actually. And that is why when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the word Hare is evocative of the potency of Krishna, and that is actually Radharani. So Hare is actually Radharani, and then there is Krishna. So if we want to approach Krishna, we should approach Krishna by pleasing Srimati Radharani. That is very important. So that is why Radhashtami is coming. It will be at our center. We can share with you details of where we are. It's going to be on Saturday evening on the 23rd of September. You're always welcome to join us. Since this whole period of Janmashtami is there, I thought it would be nice for us to spend maybe a few minutes remembering a very beautiful Leela, or pastime of Krishna. If you see behind you, we've got some Krishna books. And these Krishna books that you can see on the shelf, right, they are the basis of all that we understand about Krishna. It's very important that whatever Leelas of Krishna that we speak about, it must come from authenticated sources. And the Leelas that we speak about on Krishna, they all come from Srimad Bhagavatam. They come from Bhagavata Purana, specifically in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, he did something very merciful. He actually realized that in our day and age, it's sometimes very difficult for us to actually go through Shastras the way we would have in the past. We study Sanskrit, we know the shlokas, we know the words, and then we study everything. So Prabhupada is very kind, especially in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is actually speaking on all the Leelas of Krishna. Prabhupada actually wrote it. He wrote the entire Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto in what we call prose, which means without the verses, but putting it into very simple, readable format. And the result of it is what we call Krishna book, right? They come in smaller editions, bigger editions, but they are very simple to read. And each pastime of Krishna is very nicely described by Srila Prabhupada. So even a child can read it, an adult can equally enjoy it, Anyone with a basic command of English will find it very simple. But more important than that, it is authentic, which means whatever we read is actually coming directly from Shastras. And whatever that's authentic and coming from Shastras, and it's coming from the line of disciplic succession, right? It's coming from Acharya to Acharya without any change, without any dilution. Then that transcendental knowledge has potency. It has potency. So what we have to do as devotees is, when we speak on these leelas, it becomes our duty to speak them as they are. No embellishments, no additions, no subtractions, nothing to exaggerate. They should be spoken the way they are given. When we do that, then the quality that we are achieving in devotional service is chastity. Chastity means to be true to a cause, to be true to be true to one person, and that one person is Krishna. So therefore, it's very important that when we speak on these beautiful leelas, we shouldn't take them as something sentimental. That's first. And second, we should absorb them as much as we can. And that's why in the process of advancing in devotional service, advancing in our spiritual life, there are only 3 things we have to do. And it's a very simple formula. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. The starting process for advancement in devotional service is always Shravanam. That's why Prabhu and Mataji have been so regular about inviting us to Waterside. Because regular hearing purifies our hearts. It purifies our consciousness. We don't realize it, but it's subtle. It's not something which is gross, but it's subtle. And the more we hear Krishna Katha has that very powerful effect of actually cleansing our hearts. It's very important also that when we hear in a certain mood. Sometimes when you have students and you are a teacher, you have 2 kinds of students. You have students who ask questions and students who don't. Now, in the category of students who ask questions, there are 2 further categories. There are students who ask questions because they want to challenge you. That means the purpose of the question is not to be illuminated with knowledge, but the purpose of the question is actually to challenge what you think is right and what I think is right. So the whole object of the question, seeking an answer, is lost. The second way of asking question is the way of the scriptures. And that is the way of our tradition. That when we ask questions or when we hear about something, we hear with submissive attitude. Submissive attitude not to the speaker, but to Krishna. Because whatever we are speaking is actually coming from Him. When one's heart is submissive to the words and teachings of the Lord, whether it is the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, when we are submissive in that mood, then we acquire humility, we acquire tolerance. And that actually becomes the platform for us to advance in Krishna consciousness. So this is a very important science. And that's why we are always urged, every day for some time, sit down, read. Some people say, if I read, how can I hear? But the truth is, as you read, you are hearing. Reading is actually considered to be Shravanam because you're absorbing it. And if you feel it's difficult, then read loudly. Maybe your family members may get a bit disturbed for a while, but read loudly. And when you read loudly, everyone else benefits too. Many families in Krishna consciousness, the last thing they do before they sleep is to read Krishna book. They read 1-2 pages of Krishna Leela. And sometimes the chapter is only 3 or 4 pages. So it doesn't take much time, but it's very practical. Very practical. The point is, spiritual life should not be in the air. We think about it, we talk about it, we speculate about it. But at the end of the day, we have to practice it. That's the key. And practice means there must be some sacrifice. You cannot get diamonds without sacrificing something. You can get glass that looks like diamond cheaply. But if you want diamond, you have to sacrifice. You have to work hard, you have to give up something, eventually to get something valuable. And this everyone has done in life. You all have worked hard to forego something in order to achieve something. Spiritual life is like that. So this is a very important thing for us to remember. And these Krishna Kathas that we speak about, they are not sentimental discourses. They are actually authentic. And when we come together, we hear Shravanam. And once we hear, then what happens? Shravanam, then Kirtanam. right? So from hearing, we can then repeat what we have heard. Kirtanam just doesn't mean singing. Kirtanam actually means to recite or to repeat what we have heard. So if you hear something today from Krishna book and tomorrow you repeat it to someone, you have just come within the line of disciplic succession. And you have then come to the second stage of ingesting spiritual knowledge. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and the end product of this is Smaranam. Smaranam means remembrance. So to remember someone, you should hear about them, and then you should repeat what you have heard about them. It's actually commonsensical. If you want to get to know someone, you have to hear about who they are from them. That's the best thing to do. Or from people who know them. So we hear from devotees or we hear from Krishna. When you hear from Krishna, you read the Gita. When you hear from devotees, you read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that way, the end goal is Smaranam. But Smaranam of who? And that's why it's stated, it is Shravanam, right? Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. It is remembrance of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, Vishnu. This is very important. Brahma, you all know, is the creator of the universe. But Brahma was not the creator of the entire universe. He is the material creator of the material universe. This is something sometimes we don't even realize. We think that Brahmaji created everything in this world, but he did not. He himself was created by Krishna. And he was created from the lotus stem, which originated from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, while lying down on the ocean of Garbho. So when Brahma came into being, he became the first living being in this world. And he is considered to be unborn in that sense because he is born from Krishna, not born the way we are born. And Brahma spent so many years trying to understand who is the source of me and what is the source of my lotus flower on which I'm seated. So he tried on his own endeavor. He dived into the lotus stem, and for many, many, many years he dived and dived and dived, trying to find the origin of where he has come from. But he could not locate it. And finally, very tired, he gave up. This is very instructive to us because endeavor is needed in devotional service. All of you came here because of endeavor, right? Some endeavor brought you here. But endeavor alone is not the only ingredient for bhakti. So much of bhakti depends on mercy of the Lord. And endeavor attracts the mercy of Krishna. So we cannot always think that we are in control of everything, because if we were, then we will know when to die. But nobody knows when to die. Actually, nobody wants to die, right? But everybody has to die. So if everything was our endeavor, we should be able to calculate everything according to the way we want. Sometimes things go very nicely in life for a long time, but at some point, things never go the way we want to. It can happen immediately, it can happen 10 years from now, it could have happened the first part of your life and happen later in the difficult part of your life. But it will happen. Everyone thinks they can be in control of something. But Krishna teaches us that actually only Krishna is in control of everything. Therefore, we need the mercy of Krishna. Brahma was very powerful. And so Krishna gave him, after he went down and he looked and looked with his endeavor, he could not locate the origin of who he was. So he came up to the lotus flower, and then he decided to do something different. He sat down and began to meditate, and he prayed to the source of all sources, the source of himself, and he prayed for enlightened knowledge. And when he did that, in his heart, Krishna spoke only two syllables: tapa, 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 tapasya. Tapasya means austerity. It means penance. And so Krishna told Brahma within his heart that he must perform penance. And that penance is a necessary ingredient of devotional service. Some tapas must be there. You all are sitting here, right? And you may be thinking, when is he going to finish? That is your tapas. You're sitting, you're being austere, and you are trying to be as, still as you can. It's not easy, but it's tapasya. The children are amazing. They are yogis. They're not moving at all, and they're very peaceful. So they must be doing a lot of tapas, because children by nature, they have to move. Hare Krishna. But the point is that Brahmaji took up austerity. And for 100 over years, he meditated. And finally, all knowledge was revealed to him in his heart. This is very important. Bhagavad Gita tells us, Krishna tells Arjuna, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Then what's the last line? Yena mam upayanti te. Very important shloka. Out of the Chatur shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, 10:10. This is the third Chatur shloka. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Krishna says, to those who are exclusively devoted and who worship me with love, with faith, right? This is a very important ingredient of a devotee, love and faith in Krishna. What does Krishna say? To them, I actually give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. So we cannot come to Krishna based on our material intelligence. All the degrees in the world and how well we do in our exams and life even in our business, that is not the road to Krishna. No, the road to Krishna is actually devotional service. When we perform sincere devotional service, Krishna gives us the intelligence to actually come to Him. He will give us the intelligence. So whatever intelligence we have, it is granted by Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, I'm not only the source of intelligence and memory, I'm also the source of forgetfulness. Krishna can make you forget also, if he wants to, right? He can make you forget. You all know in Mahabharata, Duryodhana was supposed to appear without any clothes in front of his mother Gandhari, because she wanted to give him so powerful yogic power that he would be invincible on the field. And so he came out in the night with nothing on, going to see his mother. And he thought at night nobody's walking around, isn't it, in the battlefield? But he takes the corner, and of all people in the world, he sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna is taking a night or evening walk. Krishna looks at Duryodhana and he smiles. And he says, Duryodhana, if you don't mind me asking, why are you walking around with no clothes? Highly unusual for a personality like you. Duryodhana said, oh, actually, I'm going to see my mother. And Krishna said, generally, we don't see our mothers without any clothes, isn't it? So what are you doing? And so at that moment, Duryodhana became bewildered. And he thought, all right, I should not see my mother that way. And Krishna said, put on some gamcha or something and go and see your mother. And so he did that. But as he did that, he kept telling himself that my mother's instruction is I must not have anything on me so she can shield me with her yogic power. So he kept telling himself, I will not forget to take the gamcha off. Has it happened to us before? We keep telling ourselves, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. Maybe our wives call us, and tell us, okay, before you come home, make sure you buy something. And we keep telling ourselves, yeah, I'll buy it, I'll buy it, I'll buy it. And then we reach home, we are in trouble. Because we are late, we forgot about it. It happens. Yes, exactly. So Duryodhana was thinking, I will do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. Because he was confident, I can remember, don't worry. And the moment he appeared before Gandhari, and she took out, her blindfold so that her full yogic power can be on him, he still had his gamcha on. Krishna grants memory, and Krishna can grant forgetfulness. And at that point of time, after Gandhari did what she could do, she became very upset with Duryodhana. And she said, I gave you a simple instruction, my son. Just why didn't you follow it? You would have been so powerful, no one would be able to touch you. And he said, I remembered. I told myself, I'll not forget. Then I met Krishna. And Gandhari thought, this is why you have forgotten. This is why you have forgotten. And Gandhari that day she realized that the war is not going to go according to the Kauravas. This war will go according to the Pandavas. Because she realized that no matter how much I think I can control a situation, Krishna is finally in control. He will decide what he wants, and he will decide when he wants. It is up to us to be submissive to him. So this is how we understand Krishna. And so Brahma became very submissive, and he sat on the lotus flower, and the whole prayers that he now began to recite to Krishna are known as the prayers of Brahma to Krishna. They are beautiful prayers in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But the point I want to say today is that after all that prayers, Krishna gave Brahma the intelligence to create this universe. You see, he gave Brahma the intelligence to create this universe. And so Brahma, imbued on the platform of devotional service, he could perform his service. Just like Krishna gave Arjuna the intelligence to fight and win the battle of Kurukshetra. Even though Arjuna was warrior par excellence, he still needed the mercy of Krishna to be successful. Never at any junction of our life should we think that our success is only because of us. All that we are today is only because of Krishna. If Krishna wanted, nothing of what we have could go. And if Krishna wanted, whatever that we don't have can be immediately given. This is the greatness of Krishna. But Brahma, sometimes like all of us, Brahma is a living being, right? Just like us. Sometimes we remember the supremacy of Krishna. But when you have power and you think you are very smart or you have some Aishwarya in this world, you start thinking, you know what, I can do whatever I want. And I can achieve whatever I want. But sometimes we need to be cut down a little bit because we forget who is Krishna and who we are. Brahma, it happened to Brahma one time in Krishna Leela. One time, Brahma had just witnessed a very amazing pastime of Krishna. Krishna had actually just killed the terrible snake demon, Aghasur. And if you recall in Krishna Leela, this Aghasur came to kill Krishna because he was sent by Kamsa. Remember, Janmashtami was 2 weeks away. So Krishna has come into this world. And the moment he came into this world, Kamsa became very upset because he couldn't kill Krishna. So Kamsa decided that he would send demon after demon because he had an idea that Krishna was actually in Vrindavan Dham. So the first demon that went was Putana. And Putana was subsequently killed. And in that way, so many demons were killed. And then the demon Aghasur came. Now, before Aghasur, there was a demon Bakasura. Bakasura was that bird, the heron, and Putana was actually the witch. Now, Bhagavatam tells us Putana and Bakasura were brother and sister. And another brother was Aghasur. So these were all powerful demons. They could take whatever forms they want. They were a demon family, Hopefully we don't have such families around. But this one was a family that only had one idea, to kill Krishna. So Aghasur was very upset that Putana, his sister, and Bakasur, his brother, had passed away and they had died at the hands of Krishna. So then what happened was he decided, let me go to Vrindavan and let me not only kill Krishna, but kill all those whom he loves, because that will hurt him more. So Aghasur went to the forest just when Krishna was sitting down and having lunch with the boys. They were in the forest actually, and they had just brought, in the morning, they had left with the calves and they had brought their lunch boxes and they were all going there. And they were having a wonderful time, playing and playing. They were taking lunch boxes from each other and throwing it, just like children do. And at that time, Aghasur came. And Aghasur was so powerful that he thought, let me just become what we call a big cave-like, demon. So he became a huge snake. And he opened his mouth such that the bottom part of his mouth was right down on the ground. And the top of his mouth, Bhagavatam says, was actually right up touching the skies. His eyes, Bhagavatam tells us, were like mountain caves. And his tongue that rolled out was like a highway. That's how big he was. Now, when the boys saw this big demon, with mouth that was so big, they were thinking that, what is this snake? Does it want to swallow us? But the boys were fearless. Why? Because they had Krishna. They were thinking in their heart, Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhayankaraha, Tvam Meko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samstritehe. They were thinking that Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhayankaraha, Tvam Meko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samstritehe. They were thinking in their hearts that Krishna awards fearlessness to all of us. This is actually chanted by Arjuna in Bhagavatam. But it's the same mood, the Vrindavan residents. So they thought, why do we have to fear? Krishna is just behind us. We'll just walk into this mouth of this great serpent and just see what is happening there. So Krishna didn't want them to walk in. But when he saw that all his friends were walking in, then Krishna himself became a bit anxious. This is very important. We don't realize that God, Krishna, is always anxious to bring us back to him. God is always anxious to ensure we are protected. Not just protection of our body and our health, but more important, protection of our consciousness. What is the point of good health if we cannot remember Krishna. Eventually, our mind becomes disturbed without Krishna. And a disturbed mind eventually leads to a disturbed body, isn't it? 95% of all our problems come with a disturbed mind. You just become anxious for 2-3 days, you'll fall sick. It happens. So the disease always starts with the mind. So Krishna was anxious for his devotees, but he thought, now that Aghasur has swallowed, he knew exactly who this was, right? I mean, he saw the resemblance, I suppose, brother and sister killed, now another one of the family had come. But he thought, now I should go inside and I must try to kill Aghasur. When Aghasur saw Krishna going in, he was very happy because this is exactly what he wanted. So Krishna entered the mouth, and when he entered, right, he found deep inside Aghasur that there was no way that they could come out. So Krishna was thinking, what should I do now? How to kill Aghasur? And so he expanded himself. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vrindavan, he looked like a very tiny boy, but actually he is the Supreme Master of this world. And he began to expand himself in such a way that eventually there was no space for the air to run in Aghasur. And eventually Aghasur had to die. But he died in such a glorious manner because he was touched by Krishna. Whatever impurities that he had was actually vanquished. In the same way, the Kauravas were against Krishna on the battlefield of Mahabharata. But because they could see and take darshan of him as they were being killed, Bhagavatam and Shastras tell us all of them attained liberation from this material world. All of them did. Even Kamsa, who was so much a demon number one, because he was touched by Krishna, he was not condemned to material life. He achieved liberation. So even if demons can achieve liberation by being touched by Krishna, how much more devotees? We will not achieve liberation. We will achieve much more than liberation. Liberation is like a maidservant standing at the doorstep. That is what Shastras tell us. Because bhakti is what a devotee is wanting. Bhakti is what we want. So eventually what happened was Krishna freed all the boys from Aghasur's mouth. And after that, he took them back and they all had lunch together, right? And then what happened was they went home. And now at this point of time, Shukadev Goswami, the speaker of Bhagavatam, tells Parikshit Maharaj that though they went home, they never spoke about Aghasur to their parents. It took them 1 year to speak about Aghasur. Now at that point of time, Shukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj said, wait a minute, Shukadev Goswami, why did they take 1 year to speak about this Leela? What happened during that year? Then Shukadev Goswami said, there's another reason why it took them 1 year. And now Shukadev Goswami will tell you what I'm going to repeat. And he says then that actually the reason why 1 year was gone was because the boys and the calves were stolen by Brahma. Brahma. So then Parikshit Maharaj told, please tell us now, what is this great Leela? Why did Brahma steal the calves, and why did he steal all the young boys? What was he trying to do? After all, he is the creator of the universe. Why did he do that? And so Shukadev Goswami recites this chapter of Bhagavatam. He said that one day, all the boys with the calves went with Krishna again to the forest. And this is how Krishna's day was gone always. Atitiyad bhavan ahanikananam trute yugayate tvam apashyatam kutila kuntalam shrimukam chate jada udikshitam pakshma kridrisham. The gopis sing in Gopi Geet and they say, Krishna, atitiyad bhavan. In the morning you have finished everything and they dress you very nicely. And then ahani kananam, you go to the forest and we are all left here. We don't see you for the whole day. You go there to spend time with your boys and your friends and your calves. And then in the evening you come back looking even better than when you went. Because you have dust in your hair. You have dust on yourself and it enhances your beauty. It doesn't decrease it. And then the gopis, they curse Brahma. They say this Brahmaji is a terrible, cruel person. Why? Because he has created eyelids. Because when you come back, we want to see you unrestrained. But we have eyelids, isn't it? And therefore, every time we blink and we cannot see you, it is like Trute Yugayate. It's like an entire yuga is passing and we cannot see you. Now, how many times do you think you and I have blinked while watching Krishna? And nobody was falling down in separation. Oh, Krishna, I just blink for 1 second and I can't see you. We don't have that bhav. But the gopis had that bhav. That is how advanced they were in spiritual life. They were not just girls running around after Krishna. They were advanced devotees. Advanced devotees. So the gopis would never see Krishna, but Krishna went out with all his friends. And when he went with his friends, he was sitting down and they were having wonderful lunch together. And while they were eating, they were enjoying and talking to each other. Krishna was the supreme creator. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, but just sitting down like an ordinary boy. And the calves whom they brought the calves, and the calves were just wandering around. And then the calves went deeper into the forest and the boys became anxious. What if we lose them? So Krishna said, don't worry. You sit and have your breakfast. I'm going to go in and I will look for the calves. So Krishna entered deep into the forest, but to his surprise, he could not find the calves. So then he thought, better I come back and tell the boys. He came out and he didn't see the boys. Now the boys were not around and the calves were not around. So Krishna was thinking, someone has done this. Someone has done this. Krishna knows exactly who it is. But then, at that point of time, Brahma had stolen the boys and Brahma had stolen the calves. He stole the calves first because then Krishna had to go. Then he came and stole all the boys. And he hid them in a cave. And he put them with his yogic power into a deep sleep so that they did not know that they were taken away. They were not harmed, but they were kept aside. And now Brahma wanted to see, what is this boy in Vrindavan whom they call Krishna? What is he going to do now? People say he's the supreme personality of Godhead. See, sometimes we know Krishna is God, but we don't act on it. And sometimes even a personality like Brahma, because he is creating such wondrous things in this world, he can forget also. It's easy to forget our place in life, right? It is. When we think we're very great, it's easy to forget who we are. So then Brahma thought, let's see what Krishna will do. And so he waited. He thought Krishna is going to be in trouble. Because how do you account for so many calves gone and so many cows gone? What do you do? Then Brahma waited. Meantime, when Krishna saw that the calves and the boys were gone, he thought, so Brahma wants to test and he wants to see what is my potency. Not to worry. From his own internal potency, this is very important, not external potency, from his own internal potency, from Yoga Maya energy, not Mahamaya energy, but Yoga Maya energy, Krishna expanded himself to replace each and every boy. And he expanded himself to replace each and every calf. And so Krishna went back with them in the evening. Now, all the boys, all the parents were waiting for them to come back. And in the evening, when they all came back, what do parents do when we see children, when they come back after a long day? Right? We don't scold them, right? I hope you don't. We go and hug them, we embrace them, we say, how was your day? And so this time the boys, the parents did the same thing. They embraced all their children. And the cows came to the calves and they also smelled the head of the calves. The only difference today was that the mothers and fathers, their love for their children was always there. But that day when the children came back, their love had exponentially increased. They didn't know why today I have so much more love for my children. Why am I embracing them and why am I smelling their hair? And the cows, they were mooing and mooing so loudly. And they were also thinking, why are we feeling so much? Bhagavatam says the milk was overflowing from their udders because they were so much filled with love. And for 1 year, the residents of Vrindavan gave so much love for the children and the calves. And they had no idea why. They had no idea why. And one day, when the men would take care of the cows. So what happened is they would be at the top of Govardhan Hill. And then the calves and the boys, they would be down. One day Bhagavatam says, the cows saw their little children, the calves down. And suddenly, out of so much affection for them, they just started running and charging down Govardhan Hill. It didn't matter whether the path was traversed with difficulty and pain and all, they just went down. And as they went, right, milk started overflowing. And it bathed the hill like Abhishek. And when they came down, right, they just rushed to their calves and they gave their calves so much milk. The men first tried to stop the cows, But then they became overwhelmed with love because they thought, our children are down. And they ran down as fast as the cows. And they embraced and they were so happy with their children. Now Balramji was looking at this, Balram, the brother of Krishna, and he thought, wait a minute, for an entire year, this phenomenon has been happening. Extra love, extra care, extra attention. And then he turned to Krishna and said, Krishna, something is happening here that's not correct, isn't it? And Krishna laughed and he said, yes. And he explained to him that Brahma has taken the boys and he's taken the calves. But who are these then? They are all expansions of me. They are not different from me. 1 year had passed. It was just a moment in Brahma's life. In our solar calculation, it's 1 year. Now, Brahma thought, okay, Krishna must be in so much difficulty. Parents must be cursing him. Cows must be very unhappy. So he decided, why isn't Vrindavan Dham making noise? Everyone seems to be very happy. So he came to Vrindavan. And to his surprise, he saw the boys very happy, the calves very happy. And Brahma was really now bewildered. Brahma wanted to bewilder Krishna. But when he came, he became bewildered. He became bewildered. And so then he appeared before Krishna. And he said to Krishna, Krishna, I was very sure that the boys and the calves were taken. How do I know that? I took them. Right? I took them. So please, can you tell me who these are? And Brahma and Krishna became very kind. He displayed at that point to Brahma a beautiful form. He showed Brahma that every single calf and every single boy was actually a four-handed form of Lord Vishnu. He was actually Lord Vishnu. Each and every one. They were not literally expansions which were diluted. They were all Vishnu Tattva. All Vishnu Tattva. And when Brahma saw this, he became completely bewildered. And then he came to his senses. And then he fell at the lotus feet of Krishna. And he gave very beautiful prayers towards the lotus feet of Krishna. But one important prayer that I can share with you is this. Tatte nukampam sushamikshmano bunjana evadmakritam vipakam hridvagva purbir vidadan namaste jivetayo bhakti padase dayabha. In this shloka, which is very important shloka, Brahma says a very important point of bhakti. And with this we can conclude. Brahma tells Krishna, he says, Tatenu kampam sushamikshmano. He says, a devotee of yours, he endures all the difficulties of life, always knowing, patiently waiting for your mercy. A devotee always sees your hand at every junction of his or her life. And instead of becoming discouraged by the difficulties of life, Hrid Vak Vapurbir Vidadan Namaste. The devotee uses his Hrid, his heart, Vak, his speech, right? His mind, all his faculties. He uses them to increase the quality of his bhakti. He charges on. He doesn't become discouraged. That's why when we are devotees, difficulties in life, we don't see them as difficulties. We see them as opportunities to become purified. Because only in difficulties do our remembrance of Krishna intensify. Very seldom in good times are we very intense about Lord. In good times, we tend to take an annual leave from bhakti. And we say, Krishna, I'm just going to apply for leave for a few days. Things are going very well. I don't really need you. But when things go haywire, that's when we really remember Krishna, isn't it? So Brahma was in a haywire state. And so he's reflecting that Krishna, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was supreme creator. I thought I was so powerful that no one can touch me. I thought that I will bewilder you. But today you have put me in my place. And he said that, please always bestow upon me your mercy. And he said, am I not also your child? He says something very nice. He says when a child is in the womb of its mother, and when the child kicks the womb of his mother, right? And the mother feels the kick, does the mother become angry with the child? No mother will get angry. In fact, mothers become ecstatic. Hey, he's kicking, right? So Brahma is a beautiful prayer. He says, in the same way, if I, sometimes kick you here and there. Please excuse me. I'm after all your child, isn't it? Please excuse me. That's what he's asking. And one more thing he says very nicely, I cannot blame anyone for my bewilderment except myself. And he gives a very nice anecdote. He says, when sometimes someone is chewing something and it tastes very good, and suddenly because you're chewing it very fast, you bite your tongue. It's happened, isn't it? And you get very upset because it's painful. Huh? At that point of time, Brahma says, who am I going to blame? Who am I going to shout? Some people, when they bite their tongue, they scold the person next to them. Actually, it's not the person's fault. They bit their own tongue, but they just throw their anger on some people, So Brahma is saying, so in the same way, I've bitten my own tongue. Who can I blame but myself? This is the mood of a devotee. And so Krishna became very pleased with Brahma's humility, very pleased with his practical understanding of who Krishna was. And he blessed Brahma that go now and understand that this is the Leela. And this Leela is known in Bhagavatam as Brahma Vimohana Leela. Why is it Vimohana? Because not only it is very sweet and powerful and bewildering, but it is Vimohana. It is transcendental. It is transcendental. When we are bewildered, it is because of material energy. But when Krishna's mercy is there, it is because of his energy. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So you can understand that actually when you really study the scriptures and you hear the pastime, right, you find that when the deeper you go into it, the more sweeter it is. What a beautiful way to spend an evening remembering Krishna. All our worries are outside with our slippers. They are not here at the moment. But the problem is after you finish the program and you go out and get your slippers, they come back. They come back. So how do we then handle the problems? By chanting Krishna's names. Kirtanam, right? That Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So that is how we continuously remember Krishna. So please, Krishna consciousness is not a one-day event. It's not a weekend event. It's not like, a danger point event. No. Some people will see and hear Krishna once a year, Janmashtami, then Haribol. Some people will remember Krishna once a week. Some people will try to remember Krishna at least once a day. But a devotee tries to remember Krishna every moment. Is it possible? Absolutely. If we are chanting Krishna's names regularly, even subconsciously we will remember Krishna. Krishna will give us the intelligence by which to come to him. You see? So it is not an impossibility. You all are doing it every day. Actually, every day. You are going to work, you're working. But subconsciously, you know who you're working for. You work for your loved ones. Your children may go and study very far away. Are they really far away from your heart and your mind? No. Every moment you are conscious of them. In material world, we can be conscious. How much more potency there will be if we remember Krishna. So let's chant Krishna's names. Let's spend the next 20 minutes chanting Krishna's names. And I request all of you now to please read Krishna book. Whatever I spoke today is not what I'm speaking. It is just being repeated from Krishna book. In fact, Krishna book is 100,000 million times more deeper and more relishable. So please, you lose nothing. Change our lives in such a way that we add Krishna more and more and more. If you have 10 zeros, they still have no value. If you have a 1 in front and just 1 zero, that 10 has more values than 100 zeros. So the 1 is Krishna. Otherwise, whatever we have, it remains as 0. That's all it is, nothing more. Let's chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jai Shri Harinam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hari Hari. I can't hear you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Hari. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Jai Radha Govinda Ji ki, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe 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 Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe 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 Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe 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 Govinda. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ji ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Ji ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srimati Radharani ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnavinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Vrindavan Bhumi Dham ki. Thank you very much, Deep Prabhu, Mona Matri. Thank you for inviting us. They have been so regular in hosting us for programs. We're very grateful to you. And thank you all for joining us. Many, many faces, I have seen many times, so I'm very happy to see all of you. I wanted to welcome Vipul and Manisha. I think they have joined us with their family. We had a program at their house. It's just down at Pebble Bay, right? Yeah. And so this whole Tanjung Ru actually, all the way back, all the way to Costa Ru, we have programs almost every other weekend. So if you are in this area, please come and join us. And, you're always welcome. And it doesn't matter if you're just here. You have devotees coming from other parts also. So we're very happy to see you. And thank you very much. Please come and join us for Radhashtami if you can. Prabhu, I think I had a card. I think it was with the books. If you check, it could be there. We have cards that display, that tell us, what our programs are like. Please take them, keep them with you. And if you ever want to come and join us, you're always more than welcome. And the books are there. So if you haven't got a copy, take them back, read them, and spend time. I think Vipul Prabhu and Manisha Matri, you also needed a few books. Yeah, please grab them so you can take them too. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This is a bonus, man. Yeah.